the street, up and down the block, around the clock. We're gonna rock the dreams you give if the streets could talk. Wanna be somebody, be a contender. Gotta reach for the sky. If you want it, fight for it, or kiss it goodbye. It's make it or break it. Try to survive. Don't ever say never. Keep your dream alive. Around the clock, we're gonna rock to the rhythm of the beat. Up and down the block.
I can't help, Blake, but laugh while that song's playing, just how ridiculous it is and how ridiculous it is that that turned out to be our intro song and it hasn't got taken away yet. And what will we use when it does get taken away? He's Blake. I'm Ronnie.
It's really going to be a sad day when they take that away from us. I mean,
because if that song does not pump you up, then you are a miserable person. It just lets you know there's nothing serious going to happen whenever you watch this video. So if you're,
can I just say to you how forward I look to that warning screen that you put up and you edited every single week to say something different. I look forward to that. Like, you just don't understand. Like, you do such a good job on that, man. That's why I love you.
That's the reason.
Yeah.
Dude, let's talk about these lights. Look at this. You got like a whole Darren thing going in the background with the red lights, except you're not 60.
Yeah. And I'm over 5 foot. Yeah. My son came in here a while ago because this is my son's room, and he just picked up a remote and hit the button and changed it from my standard blue to red. And I'm like, whoa, did he know you could do that? So Blake maybe switching it up here, every other week.
What all colors does it do? Or is it just blue and red? What color is it normally?
I thought it was just blue.
Boo. See, I always wonder if, like, Bud, whenever I watch Bud, it's like I can't tell if he put a poster over his window or if he has those lights in the corner. We'll have to ask him.
You think Bud puts is he that guy that has tinfoil on the windows?
Only when he's cooking meth.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, now that we know that Bud is like one of the elite, not only is he good looking, but he makes countless thousands of dollars. I mean, he pretty much told us he was 6 figures, because you have to make 6 figures to be able to just take personal time off.
Ronnie, what's with that? Like, in 1 week, we had 2, YouTubers, Nick Push and Bud, brag about how much money they make.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think Nick wants all his business out there, but he was bragging last night that he got a huge raise, and the amount that he told us, Blake, I don't want to give it away, but it rhymes with $250,000 raise, is more than I would make if I worked 10 years straight and they didn't tax me.
Yeah. I'll never make that much, ever.
And if I
all these YouTubers, let's get off on it, right? All these YouTubers are loaded. Like our boys, Brett, who I think I just saw in the chat, Brett and Pat from the Halloween Collector, they're loaded. They won't admit it, but they're loaded.
Me and you were talking about, is it Pat? We were talking about Pat the other day because I jumped into their Halloween 6 live stream last night. They do a good job.
Dude, they're so good, aren't they?
Yeah, they
is that my best recommend to you ever? Those two.
Did you recommend Slaughtered Lamb?
No, I still don't recommend Slaughtered Lamb.
Yeah, that might be your best recommend, because I thought for sure I'd hate those guys, and they are really good. Like the way you showed me those guys was like the worst possible show for them. I won't bring it up, but they handled it great. And
you thought you would hate those guys just based off looks?
No, well, I thought they'd be one of those people that's like screaming at me. They look like one of those type of people. What do you mean you don't like that movie? But they're like really chill about, hey, if you don't like it, it's okay. I mean, I love horror fans or movie fans in general that don't preach to me why I should like something, and something is got to be stupid because it's not the norm. I like people that actually go, oh, well, you took that from that movie. I think that's very interesting. Well, I think this. Hey, well, we're 2 human beings. We're allowed to have different opinions. I think they're great. And the thing I wanted to brag about them is live streams, me and you have never done like a true live stream. We've done an audio commentary for Halloween, which I guess would be cool to throw up on the membership page for the Grumpy Goats or the Patreon.
Now, are you talking about like a watch along? Is that what you mean when you say live stream?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I should say watch along. I don't know the terminology yet, but
I can't do a watch along. I fall asleep in every movie I watch.
Well, they managed to not make it boring, and it's hard to not make those things boring, because I would like to say that I would just yap the whole time, because I'd be like, oh, dead air.
Yeah.
But they do a really good job. And I don't know if we should do a live stream. I think most of our reviews where we break out the slides, that's like a live stream, because we cover 85%.
It's like a watch along, you mean? Yeah, you keep saying live stream, but what was that?
What?
Interference. I have a theory that Pat is like a John Wick style hitman. That's how he makes all this money. He let it slip in the stream last night that he's in Alabama on a job. He was staying in a hotel.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he kills people for a living.
Well, they could find a much cheaper Alabama hitman. I figured he worked with like one of these big tech companies or Pfizer, and like he just travels around and dumps off the vaccine to everybody.
Same thing. He kills people.
But I mean, it's Brett. Brett is who has no problem letting you know, hey, I went to WrestleMania. I got Rick Vaughn's autograph back here. I've got $800,000 worth of memorabilia. These guys talk about buying scripts and things like that like it was no big deal.
And I love it, dude. Gosh, I can't get enough of it. Like, I cannot get enough. And like Brett, so Brett will start a stream, and in the background, Halloween mask and everything. Then he'll turn the camera just slightly, and then just like major league stuff, and just Arnold Schwarzenegger and Rocky stuff. I mean, this guy's got a whole wall dedicated to Rocky. Like, I'm telling you, I cannot get enough of that. If they would do, I have a request for those guys. If they would do an episode of just what they have, kind of like an MTV Crib style, and they just walk around and show every collectible they have, man, I'd be all over that.
I've got $1 million idea for them, and not literally $1 million idea. You know what they should be doing? They should be, what's the name of the show with the two geeks that go
OnlyFans?
Just be farting in jars on OnlyFans. They should be doing what's the name of it? American Pickers gimmick, but with memorabilia.
Movie memorabilia. Wow.
Like hunting horror memorabilia in the wild and going to places that have it, interviewing them, talking, trying to, con the guy out of the stuff for a little less money. And then at the end of it, just do, a little info about what they just robbed somebody of. I think that would be a good idea for them.
Ronnie, that's a great idea. There's a market for that. Like, people would be interested in seeing that.
Yes. It'd blow their channel up. And I'm going to take 0.5% of what their channel starts making once they
start next week.
Yeah.
So I watched a video of a guy on YouTube tracking down the Loomis's car from Halloween. Like, there's a video of that on YouTube, and he actually found it in an old barn and fixed it up, and now he takes it to these conventions and stuff. But like, you're right. If you had a show like that where you just go around and, oh man, why are you giving out? I guess because we don't have the means to do it, and they're already millionaires.
Yeah, they got plenty of money. They do it daily. Why not just put the content on your channel?
Film it. Film yourself doing it. There you go.
Yeah. Go rob people and film it. Let Brett film it. Let Pat film it. Hey, look at this idiot. We're going to be able to get this script from this guy. He's on drugs.
Give us a Halloween book.
Do you want to talk about okay, here's another thing with the FBI warning and not taking us seriously. You mentioned on Twitter about you had some Lethal Weapon news. So please tell me why the show's getting blowed up with people that wants to know why Lethal Weapon 5, where's it filming? What do you guys know about it? Some guy just plain out just smashed us on one of the videos we put out saying, where's the Lethal Weapon news? And I was like, what are you talking about, man?
Ronnie, I don't want to give away too much. I'm like Darren, due to my job, I can't give away too much information, but Lethal Weapon 5 is happening.
Yes.
The cast is back. Merton Riggs are back.
Joe Pesci back?
Joe Pesci's not back.
What happened? What about Rene Russo? Who aged worse, Joe Pesci or Rene Russo?
Joe Pesci.
Okay. So,
but yeah, that's about all I can say.
well, I can tell everybody. Okay, you wanted your Lethal Weapon 5 update. Here it is, the lethal finale or whatever they're calling it. Mel Gibson's going to direct. It is still on to be filmed. The Warner Brothers Discovery merger pushed it back. And we do have first preliminary plot news on this show to break, Blake. It's going to have to do with Murtaugh and Riggs' sons. So there you go. And that's your Lethal Weapon 5 update. How damn old are they? The last one was in 98. That was what, 25 years ago?
That was 98 was 25 years ago. Goodness, man.
25 years ago. So, and Riggs had a boy at the end of that one. So that would make his boy 25. Murtaugh already had a boy that was 100 at that point. So he may be, there you go. Riggs' boy is new to the force. Murtaugh's boy is already on the force. He takes him on, even though they're, close friends because they grew up like family, but he has to be his partner.
Cast the sons, Ronnie.
Okay, so this is going to be really good. Who was those two guys in? Okay, first off, I got to have Mel Gibson's son, right? I'm going to go to my standard Ryan Gosling. I don't know. Who is a young white guy? Who's the guy who played Elvis?
Hey, that's not a bad one. I don't know his name, but that's not a bad kid to pick.
He's got to be able to fight. I can't believe that guy can fight. Okay, let's see. Who? Tom. Who's the Spider-Man guy?
Oh,
or is he too short?
He's too short.
And the dude from the Creed movies can be Murtaugh's son.
Oh, there you go, dude. Look at you.
$200 million right there. Get it. Chris Pratt's going to be the chief.
I'm going to go with Eastwood. Scott Eastwood to be Riggs' son.
You're bringing up Eastwood because any which way you can.
You know what? I'm going to mix it up. Scott Eastwood is going to be Murtaugh's son.
They're going to flip it. Can I throw out before?
And I dare anybody to complain about that. See what happens.
Before we actually, we're going to record Any Which Way You Can, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, for Jet. Can I go ahead and say right now, he's at the top of the list of now my favorite grumpy goats for his choice in movies, which may give away what I think about the Clint Eastwood movie. But I had so much fun watching Any Which Way You Can, a movie that I was totally just ignorant to. I knew that Clint Eastwood did a movie with a gorilla, but I figured it was like Burt Reynolds doing the movie with the elephant. It was just stupid. And I watched this movie, and then I watched the movie before it. It's freaking amazing. It's amazing.
I was saving my feelings for when we record it, but I was ready to be very mad at Jet for recommending that movie. And I got to tell you, man, that was fun. And if you haven't seen Any Which Way But Loose with Clint Eastwood and an ape, go watch it. Any Which Way You Can.
Yeah, Every Which Way But Loose is the first one.
Yeah, and this is a sequel. And you don't have to watch the original to see this one to understand what's going on. It's a good movie.
All right, let's check the chat.
I love Jet.
Yeah, Jet. Very good. Mav says, be sure to hit the, hold on. Be sure to hit the thumbs up. That's Mav. Be sure to hit thumbs up. He said he's got a baseball game to coach. Thanks for stopping by, Mav. Nick Push is here. Everybody check out Nick Push Hard channel. Everybody check out Maverick Media.
What does that mean?
And Ernie Fan Club reporting for duty. That's like Officer Doofy reporting for duty. No, Ernie from the movie.
Oh, okay. When it said Fab, it threw me off.
Oh, here we go.
There we go, Ronnie. One step closer to having Pat and Brett money. Let's go.
Bud, what are you doing? Shea Bahara Podcast, $4.99 super chat. And he just says, let's go. It's not even a question. He's not making us work for the money. But when you got that kind of money, I guess you can throw it at the peons. And here you go, Bud, just for you. Which one you want to see, Blake?
Ronnie, you know what to do.
good. Just lean forward. Don't lean back. Lean forward. You ready? Ready? Push. Push. Ready?
Oh, you got that big guy. Oh, he's in the split.
And you know, Blake, every time somebody is what's the word I'm looking for?
Generous.
Generous enough to give us a super chat. I really do this inside.
Oh, do me.
So there you go. Thanks, bud. Everybody go check out the Shape Horror podcast. And we can end the show now because I just popped Blake. So there you go.
You know, it takes a lot to break me, but you and these clips, man, it gets me every time.
Hey, Jake Blaster's in the chat. You go check out Jake Blaster Productions channel. I haven't seen this movie in a very long time. Neither have I. Jim Bob's here saying, hell yeah, let's go. Here's Brett. You said he was in the chat. Brett, we've already talked about you way too much. Jim Bob says Blake's Kurt Russell picture is fantastic.
Yeah, Jim Bob, Ronnie got me this as a birthday present. Or is it Christmas, Ronnie? Might have been Christmas.
Christmas.
Before we even started the show, before we even started this, he got me this as a Christmas gift. So big Kurt Russell guy.
Thank you. It's been fun getting to know you too, buddy, which I know nothing about you other than you have a YouTube channel. Let's see. Pat is Italian. If you know, okay, there you go, Blake. Good call on he's like the guy from No Country for Old Men or whatever the name of that movie is. He like blows the doorknob.
Heads or tails? Call it.
What page of the script am I going to open to? What character? Can we correct the record from last week? Roger Dorn's wife is uglier than a sack full of a-holes.
No. And Ronnie, I'm not going to let you answer. She is very attractive.
Nick Push says Danny Glover was too old for it 35 years ago. But, I mean, there's ways around that. I mean, there's definite ways around that. I mean, Indiana Jones is going to happen, and he's 96 years old. I will agree with Jim Bob right here. If Mel Gibson directs, it will be a really good movie. I don't know if he's had a movie that he directed that wasn't any good. Bud says Logan Paul for, I guess, Riggs' son. There you go. And Jim Bob's right in there with you, Blake, with Scott Eastwood. So you guys are on the same page. Hey, Allie's here. Hey, happy Wednesday to you too. So, Blake, one of our favorite movies growing up, because let's face it, it's the same story here every week. We had this VHS. We wasn't from a rich family like Brett or Pat. So we had to watch what we had, and we recorded a lot of stuff off of TV. And when the cable went bye-bye, at least we had it there to watch over and over. But we actually had the physical commercial VHS of Harry and the Hendersons. So let's talk about that a little bit.
I went into this today thinking that this movie was made in 93.
Jesus.
It blew my mind that it was made in 87. I did not expect that. But yeah, you're right. I love this movie growing up, and as a rewatch as an adult earlier today, it's still fun, man. It's still a good time. I mean, the kids are terrible. But I love John Lithgow. I love the mom. You know, she's in Christmas Story and a couple other things. John Lithgow's father, Emmett Walsh, he's in The Best of Times with Kurt Russell. He's in
white shoes.
Christmas with the Cranks. He's in a ton of stuff. I really like him. And did you know he's good in that, Ronnie? It's a good movie. So Jamie Lee Curtis, she's our screen queen. Did you know he's still alive?
Oh, he'd never make it.
Would you believe he's still alive?
No, I wouldn't. I would have bet my pinky finger that he's deader than hell.
This guy here's dead.
He is a staple of the 80s too, whether it be on TV shows,
or
movies. Like his voice is ingrained in every person, I think, that grew up and watched a lot of movies like us. His voice is like stuck in your head as that's an actor we know, even though we might not know his name. We know who this guy is, and he's been in a lot of stuff. Yeah. So Blake, we don't have the slideshow like we usually do, but I figured we'd like pull a page like we did last week since we're unprepared, and we just talk about the characters and see where the conversation goes from there. It may be a 10-minute conversation, guys. It may be a 20-minute conversation, guys. But I think more than anything, as I've gotten older, I appreciate the characters in this movie a lot more than I did when I first watched it. You said the kids suck. I don't think the kids are that bad looking at it from my, age now. The girl is the typical 80s girl that just wants to be so cool and not be a part of this stuff. The boy is a nerd burger. And when you factor in the hidden story they have in this movie, John Lithgow and his father, and then Ernie with his father. So, I mean, I think it's a story of John Lithgow not wanting to make the same mistakes with his son that he feels his dad made with him. Because throughout this movie, you see that John Lithgow, the movie starts off and they're on a hunting trip, Blake. I mean, you're a hunter. I'm not really a hunter, so you know more about this crap than me, but they're taking like
I hunt them women, baby. I'm MILF hunter.
Edit. So they're off in like the Pacific Northwest hunting, and they've killed a rabbit, and they're looking to kill big game. So John Lithgow's a hunter. He's teaching his son Ernie to be a hunter, and on the way back, they run over a Bigfoot. And I just thought the absurdity of them loading this Sasquatch up on top of the car, getting down the road a little bit, him screaming into the windshield, them hitting the brakes, and then you get the comedic face of him flying. Yeah. Then I think he's dead again. Are you
Knocked
sure?
him out again.
So they load him up and they travel into town with him on top of the car. I mean, they're going into like the suburbs of Seattle. So surely people would, they would have stopped and said, "Hey, my man, what the hell you got on? You got a dead body on top of your car." So the absurdity of it is great. And I think I can say this right now, and you wouldn't disagree. You could put John Lithgow in a movie about the Smurfs baking Smurfberry pie, and he would be the only real actor in it, live action, and he would give the best performance he possibly can. Like, he's acting his ass off in this movie, and it's a movie about a freaking Bigfoot coming to live with a family.
Ronnie, even though Lithgow is a big name, does it still feel like he's underrated?
Oh, without a doubt, Blake. Without a doubt, I think John Lithgow is a severely underrated actor. I don't think he's gotten the roles that he should have gotten in his career. This dude can act, and everybody's going to point to the same thing. It's a show that I haven't seen a lot of, but apparently he was
Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah, he was one hell of a serial killer in one of those seasons of Dexter that everybody talks about. But I mean, every movie he's in, he has a really good role, and it's because I mean the guy can act, and I 100% agree with you. I don't think he's gotten that role yet. He's like one of those upper tier bit players, if that makes sense, throughout his career. But let's get to it. First thing I want to talk about, Blake, check out this poster right here. This was the official poster for Harry and the Hendersons. And you're like me, Blake, we've only seen the poster where it's got Harry smiling on it with the family in the background, the same thing we used for our thumbnail for this show. But this right here, you've got the sad eyes. According to science, Bigfoot doesn't exist. Harry and the Hendersons. So you don't know what this movie is about just by looking at this poster.
Yeah, and I read after I did my extensive research, Ronnie, aka clicked on the trivia button on IMDb. I read that they think it hurt this movie by not promoting that Bigfoot is the star. They kept his image hidden throughout the trailers, throughout all the poster work and everything like that. And yeah, they think that's what led to not really good box office like they expected. And in fact, they immediately changed the name of it. I was going to get with Darren. I was going to have Darren call in tonight and confirm. They said they changed the title in the UK to Bigfoot and the Hendersons.
Yes, the title in the UK was Bigfoot and the Hendersons. Because they saw how I guess it performed really poorly in the box office in the US. Imagine that. They also talked about how Steven Spielberg had some role in this movie, but they didn't credit him. Like if you put Steven Spielberg's Harry and the Hendersons, may have got him some more cash at the box office. But I think this is one of those movies, like we talk about all the time, where years down the line, and here we are, what is it, 36 years ago?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, 36 years later, and we're talking about this movie, semi still holds up. Jim Bob's right. John Lithgow in Footloose, he should have been nominated for an award there. So there you go. But thanks, Bud. Bud said he believes it made 50 million. So unless it costs 55 million to make that, I think that's pretty good here in the U.S. So
We also got to talk about Don Amiche in this movie, Ronnie.
Don Amiche. Don Amici?
Don Amici, yeah.
Yeah. So you want to talk about him first, or you want to go through it in order?
Oh, we can go through it in order. We were talking about Emmett Walsh and some other ones, and I didn't want to leave him out because. All right, Ronnie, I got an estimated budget of $10 million. Opening weekend was only $4 million, but Bud's right. Across U.S. and Canada, it says $29 million. Gross worldwide, $50 million.
All right, so I mean,
don't worry, Bud. A sequel's coming.
Is it?
Vincent DeSanti has backed my idea, Ronnie.
That's true.
Don't act like you forgot. We got it on tape.
That is true. We know that's probably, and I don't want to give it away, but Vincent DeSanti is our source for Lethal Weapon 5 as well.
Well, the thing about Harry and the Hendersons too,
a couple
it's
of these are going to suck, Blake, because I should have put a couple of these on slideshows, like my man right here.
Yeah,
it's going to take up the whole screen, so we're just going to have to deal with it.
Okay.
Whatever you're going to say, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say that my Harry and the Hendersons 2 Indiegogo project, directed by Vincent DeSanti, starring Frank Riker. It's going to be basically a shot-for-shot remake of what? That popped you?
I just pictured Frank agreeing to do this movie.
Well, he's the animal expert, Ronnie. It's going to be a scene-for-scene copy of Never Hike Alone, except instead of Jason, it's Harry.
I'd watch that.
Mm-hmm.
Go to a camp. So, Blake, let's talk about the guy who played Harry first. Kevin Peter Paul, 6'8". I mean, I'm just going to leave it up. He not only was he Harry in the Hendersons, but he was also the Predator. And eventually AIDS was the main predator that got him. But I think it's pretty cool that this guy, because he's 8 foot tall, got to play two great characters, the Predator and Harry from Harry and the Hendersons.
In the same year, too, right?
Yeah, they were both in the same year, 1987. Now,
wow.
I think he's, depending on what website you go to, is 6'7" or 6'8". You know, Jean-Claude Van Damme was originally supposed to be the Predator in Predator, and he's only 5'6".
Right.
So much different movie if the Predator is actually shorter than Arnold Schwarzenegger. But I mean, this guy carved out quite a little career for himself right here. Look at him. He's got the smile going. He's holding the mask. He's got the duck lips way before duck lips were famous, Blake. Probably what got him in trouble with them AIDS too. But I'm just saying.
Ronnie, Kevin Peter Hall was 7'2".
Really?
Yeah, because Lithgow's 6'4". Stop it. You stop it. Cut that out.
A long way to go for that joke. No, there he is, though. I just want to give him some sugar. That's the guy, though. I just want to give him a little shout out, considering he's gone now. He gone now. But, I mean, it's really cool, though, all jokes aside, that he got to play those two. I'm going to say iconic characters. The Predator, without a doubt, is an iconic character. And I'm going to say that Harry from Harry and the Hendersons is an iconic character, too, because it's one of those I remember. It's iconic to me.
Let me see when he died.
Like 92-ish or 91-ish, something like that.
I'm trying to think of what else he could have played.
I don't know what he could have played. Let's talk John Lithgow for a second, Blake. So John Lithgow is George Henderson in this movie. He I guess, what would you call George Henderson? I was almost going to say down on his luck, but he's not down on his luck.
No,
he's second in command of his father's gun shop that he works at. That they apparently have plenty of money, so being the second in command at the gun store pays well. He wants to be an artist. He draws in his free time, but he doesn't show his dad any of his drawings because apparently his dad did a number on him when they were kids. later in the movie that when all the Bigfoot hysteria picks up, the dad's like, "You still mess around with that drawing?" And he's like super excited that his dad's asking about his drawings. He goes, "Think you could draw me up a Bigfoot and we could put it in the window?" So he draws like an accurate depiction of Harry, and he takes it to his dad, and his dad's like, "Should have got a real damn artist." Because he wanted something with violent teeth. I mean, like wild
fangs, big fangs and claws and stuff like that. And and it's one of the best lines of the movie because Lithgow's like, "Dad, you got it all wrong. What if Bigfoot is sensitive and has feelings?" And he goes, "Where'd you dream up that shit?"
Exactly. So, I mean, he's a really good father. He's a really good father and husband. They seem to have the perfect suburban life. So, I mean, there's no real, what's the word I'm looking for? There's nothing really wrong with this family other than the fact they run over Bigfoot and it sends their perfect life into a tailspin. The next one should be pretty, and we'll come back to this, obviously. The next one, Blake, you've already brought it up. It's the mom from A Christmas Story, Nancy Henderson. I don't know if she has that big of a role in this movie. Is she that memorable to you, Blake?
She is. And I don't know if it's just because I love her in Christmas Story or what, but just something about her, just I don't know, her presence in this movie. She's just such a good playing the mom is such a good role for her, Ronnie. Like she seems so loving as a wife and as a mother. And even when Harry gets there, she's taking care of him. She's putting Band-Aids on him and stuff. She's feeding him. I mean, she just seems like she's probably she just passed away in January.
I know. I was wondering why she wasn't in that god awful Christmas Story sequel, and it's because she was so old. You know, the sequel was supposed to take place like in the 70s, so she wouldn't have been age appropriate. That movie. Can we talk about how awful that movie is?
Let's don't talk about it because I kind of enjoyed it.
Did you like it?
I kind of enjoyed it. Yeah,
I cut it off halfway through. You can.
Well, that's your problem. You didn't see the big finish.
I don't need this. The big finish was me hitting the button. Okay, we got Ernie. I love the trading cards too, gimmick, Blake, that they used to do back during the 80s. I wish I had these. These are worth a pretty penny. Pat and Brett could make some real money off of these Harry and Henderson's cards if they could get.
So I'm looking at this card, Ronnie, and you know my whole idea for Harry and the Hendersons is a grown Ernie.
Yes.
John Lithgow, who's just died because we can't afford him in our movie. He wants to know how Harry's doing. That's his final wish. So Ernie's going to go to the woods and find Harry. I think Darren could play Ernie. Look at this.
That's
don't
true.
Don't that kind of look like Darren?
Yeah.
Could Ernie grow up to be Darren?
Well, I don't know if he could grow up to be as successful as Darren, but I mean, as far as looks, I mean, possibly. Let's just face it. You're just finding a way to get Frank and Darren both in this movie.
Yeah, you're right. I can't do that. Darren, you're cut.
We're going to go with Ricky Schroeder for Ernie Hudson. Or Ernie Henderson, whatever his name was.
Hudson.
But he is not bad in this movie, Blake. I think he plays the little dweeb well. I think he plays the energetic kid well that's super pumped that his dad has run over Bigfoot, like something cool has finally happened to his family. Very likable kid. The crying scenes don't seem that fake. He gets to eat all those burgers. I was jealous as a fat kid that he handed him like 16 of those burgers whenever we find out that the Sasquatch is a vegetarian for some reason. What do you think about that, Blake? Sasquatches can't be vegetarians, right?
They can be.
That's all you're going to give me on that? I mean, all these movies we see, Swamp Ape, was he a vegetarian in Swamp Ape?
No, he ate in that.
Shout out to Jeff Ward. Now you're popping me. So here we go. The daughter, Sarah.
Worst part of the movie. And you can make the argument that she plays her role perfect. I don't care. I know she's supposed to be the annoying teenage daughter who doesn't want to be a part of this family. And I never get to see nothing. You know, her lines are stupid. She's awful. The Bigfoot, Harry tears up her 15th birthday corsage. What is that? I mean, is that a thing? I thought it was like a prom corsage or croissant or whatever you want to call it. Bigfoot eats it. And then she's like, listen to me. You don't act like that in our house. I mean, you're bad animal. I mean, it's just so stupid. Like, I think she's the worst part of this movie.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to argue. If we were doing good, bad, and the ugly, she would be one of the bads for me because I mean, but not as bad as I used to think that she was. Let's get to the most interesting characters in this movie, Blake. And I'm going to pop them up for just a second. You guys can take a look at them. One is Wallace Wrightwood, which say that 15 times really fast. Don Amici playing a guy that spent his life hunting for Bigfoot because he believes he ran into Bigfoot in the forest one day, but now he's convinced himself that he didn't, even though he runs a Bigfoot museum out in the middle of BFE. And you've got Jacques Lafleur. Blake, you ever heard of Lafleur? You don't know who Lafleur is?
I know Peter LaFleur.
This guy don't know who Lafleur is. So he is a guy who apparently came up the ranks, if you want to be, with the wackos like Wallace Wright. And they used to hunt the Bigfoot together, the Sasquatch together. And now Wallace has went off to make money off of it. And Jacques continues to hunt big game targets. And now Sasquatch is on his list of things to kill. And I think Jacques Lafleur makes the biggest character 180 throughout this movie because he finds George Henderson's plates up in the woods, Blake, after tracking the Bigfoot tracks, and they just disappear on the road. He hunts down George Henderson. He comes to the neighbor's house. He gets arrested. He is all over the town trying to kill the Bigfoot. And at the end, he's going to try to kill the Bigfoot in the big finale. And John Lithgow is about to commit murder in the woods and saying, "You're not going to kill him," running his head into the truck over and over until Harry steps in and tells John Lithgow, "That is not the way of the Squatch. We don't bash somebody's effing head in because we're mad at them. We talk it out." And at the end of the movie, it's like all the anger is gone out of LaFleur and he's ready to move on. He's even got a great line that we'll get to here in a minute where, what's the next thing we move on to?
Yeah.
And he says it. But I really like this guy. I think this is one of his better roles. I mean, we loved him in what was
Iron Eagle?
Was it Iron Eagle?
No, I've never seen Iron Eagle.
He plays the terrorist in one of these movies. It might be Delta Force, but
I don't think so.
It's not Delta Force, but he is a really good actor. And I think he is really good in this movie between him and John Lithgow and Don Amici, because Don Amici, he puts it all out there in this role. There's three people like really hammering it out, trying to make this a real good movie.
He's in Executive Decision.
That's it. He's in the movie where Kurt Russell has to take over because Steven Seagal gets blowed out of the plane. Nick says, check the chat real quick. She's important, though, when she turns and accepts Harry. It's huge. If I recall, that's right. I guess he's talking about the sister because eventually she does warm up to.
Well, yeah, Harry steals the neighbor's flowers and brings them to her.
Allie says, I don't think she's as bad as the sister in Christmas Vacation.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So Blake, I got. Is there any scenes you want to talk about in particular with this movie? I know you didn't get to see the entire thing, but you want to break down any of these scenes?
No.
So let's see how fast we can get kicked off of YouTube real quick, Blake. So
play it, brother. Play it. Let's go.
Here. Let's see what we can figure out.
Dead air, Ronnie.
I don't care. So I think, Blake, whenever I think about Harry and the Hendersons, I think about this scene right here. So, in this scene, he is settled into town. First off, he destroys their house. When he wakes up in the garage, he's walking through their house. George is about to blow his brains out, and Harry, one of the 15 times in this movie, gives him the sad eyes, and he doesn't blow his brains out because I think they have an interconnection. The Hendersons' house is full of like mounted game. So he starts grabbing it off the wall and burying it in their front lawn. He destroys their walkways. He destroys their floors. He destroys their furniture. And eventually he gets comfortable enough that Lithgow's trying to teach him to sit. So he's destroying everything. And when the wife comes home, he was supposed to take Harry back to the forest, but Harry's instead watching TV with the greatest laugh. That is the greatest laugh in movie. That's okay. One of the greatest laughs in movie history. I don't know if I've ever laughed that hard. But he is sitting there watching TV. He's eating French onion dip. He's throwing it at the TV. He's laughing so hard. He's coughing. So this is one of those scenes when you think of Harry and the Hendersons, you cannot talk about Harry and the Hendersons without talking about the scene where Harry
Check
was
out that old Comedy Central logo in the corner too. I love it.
Yep, that's one of them I couldn't take off. So there you go. Real quick, hold on.
There's
All right.
3 or 4 scenes of him just smiling really big at the camera too. Like I knew you got the famous one where he's in the attic, or I'm sorry, he's in the basement, and he hands Ernie up to John Lithgow, and he just smiles really big, real close to the camera.
He's really got the best smile.
He does. He does. I didn't remember that there's like 3 more scenes in the movie where he gives the big smile on somebody's face. Like when John Lithgow finds him and brings him home and wakes up the mom, is like, look who's here. And he's like standing in the dark and he comes into the light and he's smiling really big. I love it, man.
They're going to take him back. They're going to take him back, and Ernie's all upset, and you can hear John Lithgow telling Ernie, hey, he's got to go home. And this makes Harry sad. So Harry's running. He just runs away. He's running through the suburbs, which leads to mass hysteria in the town. Everybody's in Bigfoot frenzy. Like the gun store is overrun with people buying guns, and John Lithgow gets to scream at somebody, well, we're all out of big guns. Or he goes, we got big guns, we got big guns, but we're all out of big ammo. And the guy's like, look, man, they saw one of these things close to my house the other day, and he's just trying to find out where he lives. Some guy on a bike says he got attacked by Bigfoot. John Lithgow shows up there and says, what you did is probably startled him so bad, and when you crashed your bike in the process. So he's like attacking people in live interviews with the local news. And then when he finally finds him in the city, the chase scene between LaFleur and Harry, where they're in the garbage truck and Harry's got the pistol holding it like this, and LaFleur's reaching for the trigger, and all of a sudden, like the cart comes loose and gets shot out of there. Anyway, LaFleur ends up in jail, which is a great scene. It's great silly comedy because he stinks so bad from the dumpster that every time he paces to one side of the jail cell, all the criminals go to the other side. So it's hilarious. And when he brings him back, you're absolutely right. When they bring him back, though, he's like, look who I brought. And Harry's like, right there, which is something out of a nightmare, but just something about that smile is great. And it leads to the next scene, Blake, that everybody knows before you fall asleep.
This is when they give him a bath.
Yep. Look at that grin right there. Look,
and Lithgow has a moment. I don't know. Is this all the clip you got?
No, it's more.
I was going to say Lithgow kind of has a moment where he looks at the TV and then looks at his family like, we are the Addams family.
Yeah.
They're creepy and they're kooky.
He is working Harry's head over right there, trying to get him right. Well, the gimmick here, if you've never seen Harry and the Hendersons, he stinks. He stinks.
Mysterious and spooky. They're all together.
His feet's propped up, Blake. He's propped up while these humans. And the whole movie, we're under the assumption that he's just a dumb animal. And there's no dick inside.
The Addams family.
See, that's what I was talking about. So you talking about the dick. Let's. The mom says, no, the dad says, somebody says in that house, we got this big male animal runner, and the mom goes, how do you know he's male? And the teenage daughter goes, and she goes, oh, so there is something hanging.
Eventually, they hunt down Wrightwood, and he comes to eat at their place. And he gives them the big speech about how there's no Bigfoot. Don't waste your life like I did.
Yeah.
Lord. This is the reaction. Like he's giving them, there is no abominable snowman. There is no big feet. There is no Sasquatch. And they're laughing at him.
Have you ever heard it pluralized like that?
No, I thought Bigfoots was like, that's how you say it, like deers.
Like sheep.
Sheepses.
There's no big feet. I was like,
Nieces.
whoa.
Lithgow, Dr. Wrightwood, say hello to Harry.
See, they dressed up for him. She's in like a gown. Look at that face. Look at that face. Looks like Rocky Dennis. He just snapped his neck right now. Floor creaking. He's about to fall through it, Blake. Love that reaction from him. He's like pumped up. My life.
He spent his whole life, Ronnie. I mean, all the ridicule and the shame, and it finally pays off.
Bud says you're fighting the Sandman. They can tell, Blake. You put in a hard day's work. You don't get that time off. Jim Bob says he's surprised this hasn't been remade, especially after all the Sasquatch. I mean, you're right. I could definitely see this potentially getting remade. Wait, there towards the end, I got something special for you, Blake.
All right.
But it's going to take me a second to download it. Real quick, let's see. Towards the end, we get the big race scene because LaFleur is after Harry. He's going to kill Harry. So the best thing to do is take Harry back to the forest. And we get the scene where John Lithgow has to be mean to Harry. Now, Nick Push said don't show this scene, but we have to. And this is going to take me just a second, Blake, because I'm not prepared. So carry on with a good story when I do this.
I don't have anything, man. I've told all my good stories already.
Give me just a second.
What's everyone in the chat think of this movie? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Do you guys like it? I know Allie said she watched it and she enjoys it. When's the last time you've seen this movie? It's free on Roku on the Tubi app. So just search it out on Roku and you can watch it for free. It does have some commercials in it, but still.
What commercials? All right, I should have been way more prepared than that. I'm sorry, Blake. All right, so here's the scene Nick Push said that we shouldn't have because it makes him cry.
Get out of here! Can't you see we don't want you anymore?
Little backstory here. He's tried, to tell Harry he's got to go. He's going to get killed, but Harry does not want to leave.
Why can't you go back where you came from?
It's actually what happens when we go to visit our father. This is the same thing. Word for word.
Leave us alone!
It really is word for word. Now it's realistic.
What if Harry just punched through his chest like Friday 13th Part 6?
Yeah.
All right, we've got a great question in the chat. Cousin Caden's here. If you remake this movie,
Love you, Caden.
Who do you cast, Blake? So let's stop everything we're doing. If you remake this movie, who are you casting?
Okay, so the dad has to be an incredible actor, Ronnie. Okay, and Jim Varney's dead.
That is true. He is dead.
My immediate... Okay, so the Don Ameche character...
Amici, you mean?
The Don Ameche character, I'm going Kurt Russell. The dad... Gosh, this is tough. Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe is the dad?
Yeah, this is going to be $100 million movie, Ronnie. Harry and Hendersons.
All right, okay. So who would you're right, though. It has to be somebody who can tear up, that can actually, so George Henderson would be Jeff Foxworthy for me.
No.
And no, I'm joking.
You're not taking this serious.
George Henderson would be, I don't know, Blake. Part of me wants to say somebody like Steve Zahn. I
mean, that's not bad.
No, but it's not. I don't want that kind of character because my Bigfoot, my Wallace.
Okay, how about this?
Would be somebody like Jack Black.
I was about to say Jack Black. I was about to say, how about this? And forget about the comedy, but Jack Black as the father, the loving father.
Yeah, I think I would go with that too. And then it could be anybody, but I think Jack Black needs to be in this movie as one of the characters. And you could even throw in like a comedy character, like maybe like a not comedy character, but like a well-known actor, like a Steven Dorff to play the LaFleur's character, like somebody serious that looks mean, but at the end can play like a, hey, everything's okay.
Jack Black's bandmate, Kyle Gass, can be Harry.
There you go. So real quick, let's go back to this.
That's a good question, Caden. Love you, buddy.
It was.
Go!
Just like when we meet our dad.
Go!
Go!
You can't borrow anything.
Awful.
I don't see a crack, Ronnie.
No. Or balls. He's an Annie.
Goodbye, my friend.
See, that's just the
That's
goodbye.
why we need a. That's why we need a part 2, Ronnie.
Goodbye,
misses
my
him.
friend. I mean, seriously, all the jokes aside, it's got heart to it, Blake. And like I told you, this is going to be a short review. The last thing we see, Blake, is this right here. Give me just a second. So he finally goes off. He finally goes off. And then we get to see.
I see 3 of them right now.
Oh, hold on. Before I do this, good Lord, what am I thinking? What am I thinking, Blake? Because
Not sure.
the biggest scene of the movie, I was going to skip right over. Because they get to have the goodbye again. They get to have the goodbye again after everybody makes up, and George is able to talk to them.
Take care of yourself now, okay?
Got a hairline like mine.
Okay. Okay.
This is actually
Okay.
that's Kevin Peter Hall's voice. He's always gargling. And here's the best part: this smile. Yeah, I can talk.
Mon Dieu. They have a language?
So, I mean, and we transition from that right there, Blake, into the fact that we see that Harry's not alone. There are more Harrys out there, if you will. So, and then I got a surprise for you.
Whoa! Whoa!
100 of them. They're all guys.
Here comes the little one. There's a female somewhere.
The hell?
Now, Jocko, what for you?
I don't know.
Terrorism.
I don't know.
There's always Loch Ness.
What a great freaking ending. And if you don't like it, there's something wrong with you. I'm going back what I said earlier, Blake, about people that don't let people have opinions on movies. You got to love Harry and the Hendersons. If you don't like Harry and the Hendersons, something's wrong with your heart.
Yep,
And
hit that X if you don't like it.
And people knew about it, and people knew this had more legs than it was. Blake, have you ever seen anything from the Harry and the Hendersons sitcom?
Never.
So everybody in the chat, is anybody in the chat? And I'll go back and check the chats here in a second. Give a thumbs up in the chat if you've actually seen anything about the Harry and the Hendersons sitcom. Because I'm fixing to play the beginning. The beginning, the intro, 80s style, early 90s style for Harry and the Hendersons, Blake. And I'm going to stop it because there's going to be parts we have to rewind.
I'm excited about this.
Where'd you get 'em? How'd you get 'em?
How did this not work?
How'd you get them? Those big feet. That's what he
Hey,
said.
I know this is awkward to say. I really love that color green.
Why was that awkward to say? You like
because it's just a random thing because it's the same green that 1989 Joker throws on them paintings in the museum.
Where'd you get 'em? How'd you get 'em? Way up north in a
What is he doing? What is he doing?
house that's new. There were four
Can you imagine hey, we need you to film these scenes and he's just throwing leaves up?
was me, your big feet, and you. From your ankle
He's aiming at his D.
Mm-hmm.
Back it up. That's right on the D.
four was me, your big feet, and you. From your ankle up, I'd say you sure is free. From there down, you just.
The dad is the guy that was in the X-Men movie that turned into a fish, the senator.
Too much.
Really?
Feet. Your feet's too big.
He's reading the paper too.
Don't want you come.
Oh, Blake, you'll know Bruce Davidson. These are not standardized. These are not standardized tests. These are his grades, George.
From your ankle up, I'd say you sure is free. From there down, you just too much feet. Your feet's too big. Don't
That's not even the best one, Blake. Wait, do you see it?
want you 'cause your feet's too big.
Molly Cheek went on to be a cokehead.
Can't
Molly,
you
clap
use
my
you 'cause
cheeks.
your feet's
You ready for this?
too big. I love you 'cause
That's me dancing.
That is your move.
Yeah,
I've seen you
too
dance.
big.
that's my dance move.
I love you 'cause your feet's too big. Oh, your feet's too big. Don't want you.
Is that
Eugene Levy.
I was gonna say Eugene Levy.
'Cause your feet's too big.
You get the hell out.
Because your feet's too big.
That cactus hurts. It's Kevin Peter Hall. It's the real guy. It's the same guy. Yes, Brad. It's the same guy. In the first season, it was the same guy. Blake, this crap went 3 seasons.
I love you even if your feet's too big.
I gotta watch that show. You're not gonna. You can't convince me that that doesn't have some gold in it.
You know it has gold in it.
That's the intro.
So that's Harry and the Hendersons, Blake. Everybody in the chat, get ready to rate it. Give us your rating for Harry and the Hendersons. Blake, Harry and the Hendersons, 1987, the year that Hogan body slammed Andre and we got 93,000 in the Silver Dome. What is your rating for Harry and the Hendersons?
I think this is a solid 5 out of 10. I'm sorry. Cut that, Ronnie, and edit. I think that's a solid 5 out of Bud.
5 out of Bud. I'm going to go 6.2 out of Bud.
Yeah.
And yeah, probably about 2.5 of that is nostalgia, but I don't care.
Yeah, I don't either.
This is a movie I can pop in and watch and laugh. I can laugh at him watching TV. I can laugh at that Addams Family scene. I can laugh at him smashing that house around and that face he makes when he shoots off the car. This is a great movie because it's a movie from my childhood that I can remember laughing as a kid about and watching it with you and watching it with our sister and watching our family. This is 6.2 out of Bud. This movie's great. And if you haven't seen Harry and the Hendersons, pretty much everybody in the chat, and we've kept a pretty good crowd this whole time, has seen it, or you wouldn't be here to watch us talk about it. Watch Harry and the Hendersons. I think it's free on Tubi right now. So go check it out.
Brett bragging in the chat. Mania 3 was the first ever WrestleMania he attended.
Is he really saying that? Let's go check the chat. We'll see what you guys think of what we've talked about, and then we'll all get the hell out of here together. So,
Nah, Nick, that's not the premise of my sequel. Mine is John Lithgow is dying, and if we can't get him for the sequel, then he's already died. But his final wish was for Ernie to go check on Harry, make sure Harry's okay. And Ernie goes into the woods to find Harry, and Harry's insane. And it's a horror movie, similar to Never Hike Alone. That's why I got Vincent DiStefano to sign on.
we got a believer in Bigfoot here. Allie says she does believe in Bigfoot. Everybody's giving it thumbs up. For some reason, when I was trying to download that, you asked people to give it a thumbs up, Blake. Have you guys covered the Great Outdoors before? No, but it's on the list to be done before this year is out. So we'll definitely be getting to the Great Outdoors. Did we cover
How's it going, Jim Bob?
on the audio podcast, Blake? Did we cover that?
I don't think
this-
so. I know we did Summer Rental. I know we did a couple of John Candy movies, but I don't think we ever got to Great Outdoors.
See, Brett is loving. I'm loving some Brett right now. Lithgow and Cliffhanger's classic. He is great in Cliffhanger. I think he's a great bad guy. I think he's great in that movie with Denzel Washington, Ricochet. He's great in that movie. So he is really good in some B action movies as the villain.
Hey, you know what else he's good in? The Ben Affleck movie where he's an accountant. Is it the accountant?
Yeah.
He's the heel in that one too.
Really? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Zach Galifianakis is the dad. I know that's not how it's spelled. But I think Zach Galifianakis, I think, would work as
That
the
would
dad.
work. Yeah.
Yeah. Jim Bob says Shaq needs to play Harry. I'm all there. I guess this is what you're talking about. Ernie becomes obsessed with Bigfoot, then dates one. Brett saying he never saw the sitcom. I don't think a lot of people didn't.
I don't think anybody did.
Yeah. This was the same guy that played the first Predator, right? Yes, the guy that replaced Van Damme. Now the ratings are coming in. Blake Nick Push says it's 6 out of Bud. Harry is sweating to the oldies. And here's Brett bragging. God, can you imagine? You reckon he was one of those guys that was jumping up whenever Andre got slammed?
I think he's the guy who jumped the rail during the Piper retirement match. Remember?
There you go, and they arrested him. Brett also gives it a 6 out of Bud. He said he watched it a ton when he was a kid. Allie says, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Jim Bob's giving it a 7 out of Bud for his smile. And Brett says that Lithgow is a jerk in Footloose, but he gives a great performance in Footloose because you think you're going in full-fledged heel, and then you get the backstory of the daughter getting killed because she was drinking and partying, and them just wanting to get rid of any danger.
Was it the daughter or the son?
Either one. So they lost a kid to partying and dancing, or just partying and drinking in general. So they wanted to eliminate that from the town and try to protect the kids. But in the meantime, they lose sense of what being a kid is all about. And at the end of it, he comes around and they're playing that music, Blake. And the only thing was missing was him in there dancing. He should have went sliding in there with Kevin Bacon at the end of it. And both of them screamed, "Let's dance." So there you go. What do we got up next, Blake? What do we got up next?
Oh, you put me on the spot, brother. Hang on. Let me click on some stuff. Let's see.
Because we had to move some stuff around. I think originally it was something.
You think originally it was something?
It was something. I'm just trying to find it in.
I think is it the Burbs?
Is it? Because we moved that around.
When's the 19th? Yeah, it's the Burbs. The Burbs is next. Oh, we got He-Man coming up, Ronnie. That's awesome.
Yeah, the Burbs is next Wednesday. So if you guys are fans of the Burbs, first thing I'm going to tell you to do is go watch Nick Push's review of the Burbs. He did really good. If you haven't seen the Nick Push review of it, go check that out. And if you haven't seen Nick Push's review of what did he do the other night, Freddy's Dead, and you guys need to cut Nick a break. Whenever he gives you some stuff to vote on in that thing, you need to vote non-horror. That's what he's trying to tell you. He's just too nice. Because we should be watching Nick review Encino Man, but you guys are stupid. Not you guys in here. We love you guys, but just people that
those other guys
watch. So we got a lot of good movies coming up, Blake. So the Burbs, that's one of the movies we love. It will be slideshow galore unless something happens with work or family. So you guys be prepared to get in here and sit with us a long time next Wednesday night, because I want to break down everything about the Burbs. You guys bring the info. Also, I will be posting up on the community tab. We are about to start preparing for 31 days in October. For those of you guys new to the channel that don't know what I'm talking about, me and Blake will have 31 reviews of horror movies throughout the month of October. That's one a day. We're going to mix in some live streams on some Wednesdays and maybe some Saturdays, depending on when work or life can free up, but definitely Wednesdays. So what we're allowing you guys to do is you can go and whenever I put the tab up, put the movies or suggest the movies you would like to see us review in October, and we'll pick a couple of them. All right. So Go check that out and give us some suggestions. Me and Blake have like roughly 15 movies down already, and we're thinking about adding some classic black and white Universal horror movies in there, and possibly some Hammer horror films. So if there's anything great, stupid, or filmed on a VHS camera that you guys want us to review, put it in there and we'll give it a look and we'll get to it. Another thing, we had like a major dump of content this week, Blake. We've got Good and Bad and the Ugly. If you guys have never seen us do a Good and Bad and the Ugly review, we released it to everybody, talking about Dawn of the Dead. We put out our Commando review, which has gotten tons of response. Thank you guys for that. And for all the grumpy goats out there, we dumped a lot of content on with trailers, Friday the 13th and Halloween. And you guys have watched Let's Ruin Halloween, and we've had good feedback about you guys enjoying that show. Me and Blake's going to get together and decide what movie we're going to ruin next. So, anything left, Blake?
No, man. I think you just covered everything.
I think I did too. Anybody we want to promote? Nick Push, Bud, thanks for the money tonight, man. We really appreciate it. That money will go to buy me and Blake food. Anything? Who else? Maverick was here for a second. Brett and Pat, go check their show out. They are great. Harry and the Hendersons. If you've never seen it, go watch it. It's fantastic. Blake?
It's fantastic. You're right. Do you want to end with us getting really close to the camera and smiling like Harry, Ronnie?
Without a doubt.